All right, 7 minutes into the meeting. So folks join panel, you can listen to it. So I'll kick off the meeting. Hello everybody, வணக்கம், வந்தனம், வருகை தந்திருக்கும் அனைவருக்கும் தமிழ் அசோசியேஷன் ஆஃப் கொலராடோ சார்பாக மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். நான் பிரியா, என் கூட சேர்ந்து வில்லன் ட்ரஸ்ட் செஷனை தனசேகர் ஃபெசிலிட்டேட் பண்ண போறாங்க. End of the session, I hope to become an expert in this topic. I know it's probably a stretch goal, still trying. I take immense pleasure in introducing the key person of today's meeting, CHANDRU Sundaresan. CHANDRU is a financial service professional helping families to build wealth since 2018. He provides services such as will and trust, life insurance with living benefits, IRA rollover, retirement planning, kids education planning, pension plan, and the real estate investments. He served as a webmaster for our own very Tamil Association of Colorado between 2011 to 2013. Mark Sternman is the vice president from the estate planning company Netlaw. He works with a network of advisors to protect families by offering will and trust online solutions through his firm, and he works with CHANDRU. தவிர்க்க முடியாத காரணங்களால் மார்க் நம்மள ஜாயின் பண்ண முடியல, very unfortunate. He has an emergency he has to take care of. So having said that, I think I will hand over to you, Chandru. நீங்க session kick start பண்ணலாம்.
Sure, yeah. Thanks for your introduction, Priya. First of all, எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். ஸோ இந்த வாய்ப்பை அளித்த தமிழ் அசோசியேஷனுக்கு, தமிழ் கொலராடோ அசோசியேஷனுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். ஸோ மார்க் வந்து as Priya mentioned ஜாயின் பண்ண முடியல, but I will try my best to go through what's will, what's trust, why do you need the will and trust, and I'll be able to answer. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer most of your questions. Let me start sharing my screen. Okay. So will and trust பாத்தீங்கன்னா வந்து most people they may have only like a very little idea, right? May not realize why is it so important, right? So when it comes to the will and trust, right, people think, okay, this is not needed right now. In the later age, we can get it done. People keep postponing things, but at the same time, when it's really needed, it's too late. So the family is helpless. It happened recently, especially I've been seeing, actually I am living in, Frisco, Texas area, close to Dallas. Pretty much I'm seeing every month or every once in 2 months, seeing similar situation, right? Something happened to the husband, something happened to the husband and wife. So what happens in the situation? The kid, right? It's going to get into the difficult situation, okay? So as you can see, almost 60% of the people, especially living in America, do not have a will. Okay. So when do you need to do a will, right? So basically any financial situations changes. So in your case, let's say in that case, if you get married, if you get divorced, right? If you are buying a real estate or selling a real estate, any new child, if you are having a new baby, right? You are to do, you are to update your will basically. And when the child turning 18, that's another key point, because what happens is when the child turning 18, so you won't be able to get access to her or his medical records, right? So in that case, you have to do some, your child has to give up basically HIPAA authorization and some, sign up some medical documents. Okay. And also one important thing is that will is basically, it's specific to the state, right? Because the state law, based on the state law, if you are living in Colorado, so you have to do will and trust based on that state. If you are living in a different state, yes, you have to do that. So when you happen to move to another state, so whatever you have done already, right, it's not going to help. Basically, you have to redo it again, right? And again, a change in employment is not a big criteria, but again, if you happen to move out of state, that plays a important role, right? So if you are losing a loved one, yes, you have to update your will basically. So several questions that may come to your mind, right? I mean, so the main purpose of the will is what happens in the worst case scenario, right? Something happened to the parents, right? Who will take care of the children? At the same time, what happens to one of the parent? In that case, how the asset will be distributed, things like that, right? As you can see, who take care of the underage children? This is the most important. Everyone having like a small kid, how to complete the will basically, right? So you may have to assign like a guardian of the children. In that case, you are doing good for your own children. So you may think by default it may go to your children. That's not the really case. So every state has like a probate court. Something happened to the parents. What happens is the state will take over. Pretty much the state will take over the kid, and they may send to the foster care. And there is a process called a probate process. The family who is claiming the child or who are claiming the property have to go to the probate court basically. So at that point, it's too late to do any kind of a will and trust. So basically, if you have everything done, you don't have to basically go through that probate process at all. Okay. And the next point is the inheritance, right? How the asset will be inherited. So in India, by default, it goes to that generation. So you have to have a proper will. Otherwise, again, state comes into the picture, right? Same like with the bank accounts. So bank accounts mostly either most of the people, husband and wife, rendu perum irukum. சில பேர் பாத்தீங்கன்னா husband name மட்டும் இருக்கும், sometimes பாத்தீங்கன்னா wife name மட்டும் இருக்கும், அந்த மாதிரி. But what I recommend is have both of the name. At the same time, you have to give like a power of attorney to somebody else, right? So that in worst case scenario, the family don't have to go through hassle of getting access to the bank account. The person is not there anymore, then it becomes whatever the account, it's going to belong to the estate. So meaning it has to go to the the state probate court process. Okay. So likewise, if you own a business again, so who is going to operate the business, or who will be the owner of the business, things like that. So another important thing is, right, when it comes to medical decision. So in this country, if the person is not able to make any decision or his or her own, right? Let's say some bad accident happened, or the person is coma for some reason. So in that case, they're going to ask for a will. So they won't let, even the wife is there, they won't let the wife make the decision for him. Or husband is there, they won't allow the husband to take a decision, basically. Since the medical, all the informations are protected, you have to do that, all the healthcare documents, get it signed, things like that. Okay. So you can ask yourself, do you have a will really, right? So in some states, even if you write like a piece of paper and sign it, that's a legal document. Okay, in some states, but it depends on the state. I'm not sure 100% in Colorado, but I can check that. It's always get the things done. I mean, I know there are many options available. You could go to the lawyer. Lawyer to ponina definitely it is going to cost anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. Will and trust. But what we are offering is through online solution, right? It literally takes like 45 minutes to 1 hour to complete for both husband and wife. Okay. So we will basically help you set up an account. I will be helping you to complete basically. It's going to ask you like a series of questions, right? Based on that, you just have to answer yes or no and choose some options. At the end of the each task, it's going to generate the document for you. So those documents are all written by the lawyers. Since I don't have any control over. Basically, it depends on the state as well. Okay. So once you have the document generated, basically you need to notarize the document. Okay. Then it becomes a legal document. Right. Okay. So I just want to give a at a high level, very high level, what happens if you don't do anything, or what happens if you have only will, what happens if you have only trust. Okay. So let's look at that section here. If you don't do nothing, right? So what happens is the law of intestacy will determine who will, who your asset to go to when you die. So meaning the state will take over basically. State law defines. So the probate court decides how the asset will be distributed basically. Okay. So they have some kind of distribution because the laws are very complicated at the state level, right? We don't know because we are not really lawyers. We don't know much information, right? So it's all depends on how the state will take. It's all decided by the state. Okay. The third point is if you have minor children, again, the state will decide the guardianship. So most of the time they will send to the foster care. So even if some friends or some relatives come and claim, I don't think they will leave the children with them, basically. So that's the most important thing. You have to have a will. Okay. And again, the next part is the financial assets. I'm sure you have like houses, banks, all sort of financial assets, right? Everyone have it, right? So what happens to all those properties, right? In worst case scenario, the husband and wife is not there, only the kid is there. That's kind of worst case scenario. What happens then? So again, in that case, the court gets involved, the attorney gets involved, and there is going to be a considerable amount of a cost, right? The family has to pay, basically, court costs, etc. The next thing is, once the person in any state pretty much, passed away, the property is not protected. It became a public assets. So any creditors can come and go off, come after the property. Okay. So let's say if you have any joint ownership, so meaning like bank accounts, you may have some joint ownership, or any of the other properties, rental property, you may have a joint ownership. Okay, so if you are having a joint ownership, if the one person dies, one person lives, obviously the joint owner, he or she is eligible to take care of the property, basically. Okay, so in that case, even though if you have a joint ownership, it does not address the minor children, right? So again, the minor children, again, they have to go through the court process, right? And it does not take care of your health care and wishes, basically. So they will not be able to release basically the medical information to your friends or other family members. Okay. As I mentioned, it does not protect against any creditors. Right. So let's look at, let's say somebody is having just the will. So what happens is, right, having just the will is way better than having nothing, basically. Okay. So in the will, what you're going to say is how the asset will be distributed, right? Let's say you have like 2 children. So normally most people out there, they want to split the assets like a 50-50 between the 2 children. If you're having like 3 children, again, it's going to be like, divided by 3. So that's how. But if you have will, right? So you can mention how much asset you want to distribute to each children. Let's say I have like 2 rental properties, right? I want to give one rental property to my son and another rental property to my daughter, right? You can like specify, you can pick and choose what you want to do, how you want to distribute. Okay. And again, so you can nominate basically who will be the guardian of the children. Okay. So what I would recommend is you would want to choose at least 2 people who are living in the US, right? You can put someone from India, but it gets really tricky. They have to come down here. They may not know the process. It's going to be really challenging. You can put like if you have any relatives, you can put them in your, will. And if you don't have a relatives, you can put like, your friends, basically, with the consent of them. You can ask them simply, hey, can I put you in a will? Okay. You can ask them and put them in your will, basically. Okay. So again, having just the will, it does not avoid the probate process. Again, the family has through the court process again. Okay. And so will is nothing but it doesn't take effect until the person is gone. Okay. While the person is living, it has no effect at all. It just stays there. So once the person is gone, then it takes effect. Okay. So generally probate process is usually depends on the state. It could take months, sometimes years. So we don't know that. So it depends on how, works out in each, county. So we don't have any control. Okay. So at the same time, if you have a trust, right, it's kind of providing additional layer of a security, basically. Okay. As you can see, so assets are owned by the trust, but by default, assets are not owned by the trust. Let's say if you have a primary home, I'm sure your primary home, you and your wife name, right? Or you and your husband name. So there is a process. You could move that asset to a trust. So the advantages of moving an asset to a specific trust is like basically, if the person is not there anymore, parents is not there anymore, right? The asset is still held in the trust, basically. Okay, the family don't have to go through any sort of probate process. Okay, and so based in addition to that, initially you will be the trustees of your any property, right? Husband and wife. So you can pick and choose like a few more people as a trustee. So let's say if the husband and wife is not there anymore, right? So in that case, who will be the trustee? So the person you are chosen, like, to your two of the friends or, relatives, they can become their trustee and they can basically take control of it. Okay. And okay, so again, it does not go through the probate court, basically. So trust is something you can utilize while you are alive. So you can keep making changes. You can create like a multiple kind of trust, basically. For the simple thing, I would suggest at least move your assets to the trust. Also, you could create like a bank account on a trust name and to fund the trust, so in that case, when you are not there, the trust will can have access to your trust accounts and help your children, basically. Okay. And if you have a trust, the privacy is totally protected, right? So these are like a very high level will and trust, but at the end of the sessions, we can talk about all the questions you guys have. I'll answer that. Okay. So next it comes to the cost, right? The cost is like when you go to the attorney, as I mentioned, it could cost anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000. It depends on the situation, depends on the attorney. Okay. See here, what we are offering is this package is $600, but I am planning to give like a discount for all the Tamil Association members, basically. Okay. And also sometimes even, for myself, I'm a notary public, even I do it for free sometimes. Sometimes, let's say if someone is doing some other financial service solution needed, so let's say life insurance, something, definitely I'm able to do something, make it a good discount. Okay. The process is so, okay, here's what documents basically it generates, right? So once you completed the process online, you are going to end up with like 12 different sets of documents. Okay. As you can see, the will include trust for children and grandchildren. This is for both. So you have to complete the will and trust for you and your spouse. Okay. There will be like 2 sets of documents. The only common document is the living trust. Okay. And there is a trust agreement. Those are the only common document, but the remaining documents are, you will have 2 for each, actually. Okay. And regarding, as I mentioned, right? So what we provide, first 1 year, usually we get like a 1 year to complete your will and trust process through the online, right? It usually takes like an hour or so. But I have seen in like many people, they just sign up and not doing anything, right? If you are able to not complete up to 1 year, there's no charge. So if you have to keep that account active, meaning if you need to make some updates, generate the documents, there is an $8 per month fee. Okay. So, I would suggest you can just get it done as soon as possible. There is, when it comes to will and trust, there is literally, no point in waiting and doing it later. Okay. So by doing it online, what do you get, right? So basically, it's a simple guide how to complete, basically, right? There is not going to be like a complex question and answer or anything. It's just a simple questions. You just need to, click through that pages, and it finally is going to generate the documents. Also, you will have an access to the attorney network. So let's say if you have some like a legal issues or legal questions, yes, you have an access to the attorney network. You can schedule an appointment with them. So usually they do it for free for first 1 hour. You know how attorneys are very expensive. So if you need like a subsequent sessions, yes, they will charge. That's completely outside of our process, basically. Okay. And so when you generate the documents, right, you will have access to the online system. So that's kind of they give like a lifetime access. It's like a secure vault. So once you complete the document, you can like notarize and upload the document in the same system. Also, you can store other financial documents as well. For example, your life insurance policy or your bank information or your 401k information. So anything tax related documents, right? I know the documents, everyone kind of sharing, storing like a scattered away. It's always good to keep everything into one place, so that in any case of an unforeseen event, the other person or whoever that, executor, they can get access to the account and see what you have basically. Okay. And yeah, so as I mentioned, first 1 year, it's like update to the will and trust is totally free, except the initial cost. But if you want to keep making changes, the only time you would make changes, let's say you are moving from Denver to like Atlanta, right? So in that case, your will become absolute. So let's say you bought a home in some other state, and then you are completely moved, you have to redo it. So whatever you have done, it's not going to help. Okay. And let's say generally you do not have to add all the properties by default. You do not have to individual, unless you are thinking of like a distributing assets in like a different percentage your children basically. Even if you buy like a real estate properties, you do not have to keep updating them actually. Okay. And so when it comes to the process, is pretty straightforward actually, right? All you have to just log into the system and fill it in. You just print them, right? Once you are printed, you are going to end up with like a 12 sets of documents. So once you have the document ready, you can find a notary public near you and set up appointment. Okay. So that process usually takes 1 to 2 hours. There are literally a lot of documents. The signature has to be done in front of the notary, and there are 2 witnesses needed. Okay. So once you notarize the document, then it becomes a legal document. So you can scan the document and upload it to the same system basically. So also you can like give that copy of the document to your executors. You can give send them a soft copy, right? So that they know you have done your will, and they know you have put their name in the will and trust both. Okay. And so that's pretty much it. And so regarding the notarization, it's a very straightforward process. There are 2 witnesses needed, as I mentioned, and with the valid ID. Usually the notary public, they just verified the ID and they verify the signature. That's pretty much it. Notary public normally do not review the document at all. Okay. Let's say once you complete your will and trust, you printed all the document. So I would suggest review the documents. Make sure that this is the way you want to get it done, right? And yeah, so the signature anyway you are going to do in front of the notary. And so 12 sets of documents for the most states. This can be done in any state. It's not only Colorado. Depends on the place where you live in. It's going to generate the documents. Okay. And so you may want to check one more thing with the notary public. Do they have a liability insurance? Okay. This is one of the thing most people overlook it, right? Some notary public, they do not have carry the liability. What if something happened, right? You process some document is incorrect. He has done some problem. So, the client can take that notary public to the court basically. Okay. So any legal issues comes up, who is going to pay for those, right? So that's one of the other thing, always good to check whether the notary public is like, have a proper insurance, basically cover him and the client. Okay. So yeah, that's all pretty much at very high level I wanted to share, but I'm opening up for questions. So Priya, do you want to go through the list of questions?
Or yeah, sure. Yep. Thank you, Chandru. Very invaluable insights and enlightening us on this topic. Created a much needed awareness. Ninga sonna madri, is this the right time? And the questions you gave good answers. And thanks to the TAC members too for expressing your interest in this topic and posting your questions. There's a few questions. A few questions were already answered. There's a few more remaining. So we'll probably kick off the session, the Q&A session. One of the questions that we got is a twofold question. How much does it cost to write a will and a trust? You kind of covered it, but just want to clarify this. And what is the best and cost-effective way to do just a simple will?
Okay. So as I mentioned before, right, the cost is going to be $600, but I am planning to give a discount for TAC members for $450. Okay.
Is it both for will and trust?
Yeah, both will and trust for both husband and wife. Okay, it's a one-time fee. That's all you need to pay, and you do not have to pay unless you want to keep that account active after 1 year and keep updating the will, right? So what I have found out is the cost-effective ways to do it online, what the solutions we offer.
Got it, Dana.
Sure. So yeah, Chandru, you mentioned like it applicable only to the state that you are writing, right? Like if we are writing, and if we move to another state, obviously, work we are not ஒரே ஸ்டேட்ல இருக்க முடியாது. So if we go அந்த ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு போகும் பொழுது we have to change, ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு மட்டும் மாறணுமா? அப்படி மாறுச்சு அப்படின்னா அதுக்கான காஸ்ட் ஏதாவது இருக்கா, இல்ல ஜஸ்ட் அமெண்ட்மெண்ட் மாதிரி இருக்கிற வில்லுல வந்து அட்ரஸ் மட்டும் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணா போதுமா?
Okay. Yes, Dana. So first 1 year move பண்ணாங்க. For example, if somebody is signing up for will and trust today, right? Up to the 1 year வந்து எந்த காஸ்டும் கிடையாது. Even 1 year குள்ள வேற எந்த ஸ்டேட் மூவ் பண்ணாலும் they can just log into the system and regenerate the documents. ஓகேங்களா? So after 1 year change பண்ணனும்னா there are a couple of options இருக்கு. ஓகேங்களா? They can keep that account active and paying that $8 per month. Or let's say if someone moved after like 3 years or after 4 years, right? So on the situation, there is a one-time fee of $250. So on the $250 நீங்க pay பண்ணீங்கன்னா, again you will get an extension for another year to make update and regenerate the documents.
Okay. So first year basically it's free, but after 1 year, every month for $8 to keep active and update the documents.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So நம்ம முத்துக்குமாரும் கேட்டிருந்தார் actually அந்த question தான் நினைக்கிறேன். If we need to change the names in the will and trust after 1 year, would we need to pay a monthly fee? Like அந்த $8ல கவர் ஆயிடுமா, இல்லனா திருப்பியும் $250 கொடுத்து அதை எடிட் பண்ணி 1 yearக்கு கவர் பண்ணணுமா?
இல்ல, அந்த டிபெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து எப்ப சேஞ்ச் பண்ணனும் நீங்க நினைக்கிறீங்களோ அப்போ. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ வந்து 1 year முடிஞ்சிருச்சு, so you are like into like a 3 to 4 months, right? Want to make changes, so they do the prorate calculation basically. Okay. You have to pay, like if it's 3 months, you have to pay like a $24.
Okay.
And then make an update.
Cool. Sure. will அப்படின்றதுல வேற questions எதுவும் இருக்க மாதிரி தெரியல. ட்ரஸ்ட் பத்தி கேட்கலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு, so நம்ம ட்ரஸ்ட் அப்படின்றத மட்டும் எழுதலாமா, இல்ல will தான் மெயினா? Like
will is the main thing. Okay. Yeah, will is the main thing. So trust all does is it protects the assets and avoids the probate process.
Okay. Sure. So what are the benefits and downsides of having a trust? Like இது இல்ல, ட்ரஸ்ட் மட்டும் இல்ல அப்படின்னா என்ன ஆகும் அப்படின்றது.
ட்ரஸ்ட் மட்டும் இல்ல அப்படினாலும் நம்ம மென்ஷன் பண்ண மாதிரி probate process அவாய்ட் பண்ண முடியாது. கோர்ட் probate process. Still the family has to take the will to the court and then let them decide basically what happens to the property.
Okay.
Do both parents need separate trust?
Trust is a common, Priya. For trust is common between husband and wife. There is only one trust actually.
Very good.
For example, so if you are creating like a trust, you can put like a Priya family trust, or even with your husband name, you can come up with the trust name. It could be any name, right?
Okay.
So one more question. Are there any default disbursement options available in US if a will is not drafted?
There is no default option as far I know. Probably lawyer may be able to give a better answer. As far I know, the family has to go through the probate court process.
Okay. Nice. நம்ம கால்ல இருக்கிறவங்க வேற ஏதாவது கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருக்காங்க? ஓகே, how long does this probate process decides courtல? I mean like
so in the probate process it's totally depends on the court. It could take like few months to years. So
Okay.
there is no like hard and fast rule. This is how it's going to take.
Okay. மேபி இப்போ அடுத்த கொஸ்டின் வந்து லைக் இப்போ நமக்கு ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இருந்தும் இது எழுதல அப்படின்னா பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு போறதுக்கான சாத்தியம் இல்லை இங்க ஆக்சுவலா.
இல்ல, சாத்தியம் இருக்கு. again the court has to decide.
Court, okay. By default பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு போறதுக்கு சான்ஸ் இல்ல.
By default it won't go directly to them.
Okay, so any assets like either bank balance இருக்கட்டும் இல்ல ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸா இருக்கட்டும் எதுவுமே வந்து டைரக்டா போகாது unless you have a will or a trust.
Correct.
Okay.
So again it depends on the state law. உங்களுக்கு வந்து சில ஸ்டேட் I'm not sure law பாத்தீங்கன்னா is different in each and every state. So again it depends on state. Some state la there may be some default option இருக்கலாம்.
Okay. இப்போ ஹவுஸ் வந்து ஹஸ்பண்ட் அண்ட் ஒய்ஃப் ரெண்டு பேர் பேர்லயும் இல்லாம ஒருத்தர் பேர்ல மட்டும் இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா, லைக் ஹஸ்பண்ட் பேர்ல மட்டும் இருக்கு இல்ல ஒய்ஃப் பேர்ல மட்டும் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா, அந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வந்து குழந்தைங்க பேர்ல எழுத முடியுமா? ஐ மீன் லைக் தனியா ஒரு ஆளு ஒய்ஃபை விட்டுட்டு குழந்தைங்க பேர்ல மட்டும் எழுத முடியுமா, இல்ல கண்டிப்பா ஒய்ஃபை இன்க்ளூட் பண்ணி ஆகணுமா, இல்ல அது எந்த மாதிரி பண்ணணும் ஆக்சுவலா? ஐ மீன் அந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வந்து குழந்தைக்கு மட்டும் போற மாதிரி எழுத முடியுமா இன்கேஸ் ஒய்ஃப் நேம் இல்ல அப்படின்னாலுமே, இல்ல ஒய்ஃப் நேம் இருக்கிறது நல்லதா?
I mean I would recommend to put both the name in the property. So generally அந்த will பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதுலயே இந்த ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும். So you have to choose like a primary person யாரை choose பண்றீங்க அப்படின்னு. இப்ப husband is not there anymore na, the wife will be the will have all the power basically, power and the assets. So the contingency meaning next in line will be the children.
Okay.
இப்போ இந்தியால ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் இல்ல அசெட்ஸ் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா அத வந்து யுஎஸ்ஏல நம்ம ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ற வில்ல ஆட் பண்ண முடியுமா?
ஆட் பண்ணலாம், பட் ஆனா இந்தியாவுல நீங்க இதை எடுத்துட்டு போனீங்கன்னா it may not work out basically. It's not a really legal document that can be used in India.
So அதுக்கு என்ன பெஸ்ட் ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன்?
அதுக்கு பெஸ்ட் ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன் I would say find a lawyer in India and get the will and trust will done in India itself. இந்த இது வந்து it's only applicable only in US.
Okay, only in US and only to the specific state that you are in and the counties law will go in this.
Correct then. Yeah.
Okay. இது வந்து ஹவுஸ்க்கு மட்டும் இல்ல இல்லையா? Like if you have a business running on your behalf also you can write the will for the business as
correct.
well.
I mean right? Business or any other other properties, rental properties.
Okay. சரி, okay.
So chatல சில questions இருக்கு. So முத்துக்குமார் கேட்டிருக்காங்க, what's the drawback naming a trustee from India versus US other than someone in US being available here in case of an emergency?
Okay, I mean so always we recommend put someone in US. So அப்படி இல்லாட்ட இந்தியாவுக்குள்ள போடலாம். நீங்க போட்டீங்கன்னா the only problem in worst case scenario they have to come down here, right? They have to travel பண்ணிட்டு they have to to get a guardianship of the children. They have to again they may not know all that detail here. It will be very challenging actually for them get a custody of the children or selling the property, things like that. First of all they have to get a visa. That's another one hurdle, right?
Got it.
Okay.
What couple more questions இருக்கு நினைக்கிறேன் chatல. So Muthukumar has asked one more question. Does a trust protect you from outside creditors?
Yes, it does.
In case of unforeseen claims. Okay.
Yes, it does. Yep. As far as I know, it does.
Okay, nice. Chitra கேட்டிருந்தாங்க, what if our husband and wife got divorced? How the will work?
Okay, I mean, so when it comes to the will, right? If they are divorced, yes, they have to update the will basically. So by default on the will la வந்து wife name தான் எல்லாரும் போடுவாங்க. Like வந்து power of attorney, like the healthcare information, wife can get the access, right? So on the in case of a divorce, yes, they have to update their will, basically. So they need to choose different names, different people for the power of attorney and the healthcare related, or even for the guardian of the children. They have to choose whoever have the possession of the children. So they have to decide.
Okay. இப்போ நம்ம கிட்ட விட்னஸ் வேணும் சொன்னீங்க இல்லையா, நோட்டரைஸ் பண்றதுக்கு 2 விட்னஸ் இருக்கணும், இதர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் ஃபேமிலி அப்படி யாராவது இருக்கணும் அப்படி சொன்னீங்க. சப்போஸ் அது மாதிரி யாரும் இல்லாம இருக்காங்க அப்படின்னா, விட்னஸ் இல்ல அப்படின்னா, அது டைரக்டர் நோட்டரி கிட்ட மட்டும் நம்ம சைன் வாங்கினா அது செல்லுபடி ஆகுமா?
I don't think notary public will not do signing process.
Okay.
The witnesses has to be there. So in the document lay பாத்தீங்கன்னா நீங்க ஜெனரேட் பண்ண அப்புறம் there is a section to fill up the witness information இருக்கும் அதுல உங்களுக்கு.
Okay.
So witness oda name, address எல்லாமே எழுதணும் உங்களுக்கு.
Okay. Witness இல்லன்னா
correct. Witness இல்லாட்டி won't be able to notarize the document.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dana.
இல்ல இப்போ ஆக்சுவலா எங்களுக்கு வந்த லிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் பிஃபோர் இந்த இதுல ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்கணும் இருந்துச்சு. ஐ திங்க் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணியாச்சுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். பட் ஸ்டில் ஹவு டு ரைட் அ வில் to have the child born here and taken care by relative friends and not going to the foster care if something happens to the parents, right? Like what is the preferred way of will for kids guardian?
I mean, yeah, preferred way of, they just have to choose the name.
Okay.
So that's the only thing. They can choose as many name as as they want. 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, doesn't really matter.
Okay, so அவங்க நேம் இருந்ததுனா போதும், then they will automatically come into the power of attorney kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And the multiple listல Indians like people residing in India அவங்க பேரும் ஆட் பண்ணிக்கலாமா? I know you said it's not very
அவங்க பேரும் ஆட் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Okay.
Okay. Assets get added or sold இல்ல இந்த மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா how frequent we have to update the will? Immediate-ஆவா இல்ல is there a buffer time or இந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது இருக்குங்களா?
As far as I know, general power of attorney will cover all the assets. So நீங்க வந்து assets sell பண்ணி buying assets, selling assets, you don't have to specifically add basically.
Okay.
So the general power of attorney will takes care of all the assets.
Okay. Well, கார்த்திக் ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்காரு. கார்த்திக் பாலசுப்ரமணியன், பேங்க் அண்ட் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் அக்கவுண்ட்ஸ் ஹேவ் பெனிஃபிஷியரிஸ், ஹவு டஸ் திஸ் கெட்ஸ் எவாலுவேட்டட் அகெயின்ஸ்ட் வில் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ ஆமா, நம்ம நார்மலா நம்ம எழுதும் போதுமே நம்ம ஆஃபீஸ்லயுமே சரி நமக்கான பெனிஃபிஷியரிஸை நம்ம சூஸ் பண்றோம், right? Like 50%, 100%, 20%, like wife and kids and things like that. So அதுக்கும் இதுக்கும் என்ன வித்தியாசம் ஆக்சுவலா?
Well, yeah, this is kind of a more of a legal question, getting out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, the beneficiary in that doc, I mean, whether it's a 401k or life insurance or whatever, the beneficiary gets that priority. I mean, that document gets the priority basically.
Okay.
So the will and trust that comes in the second.
Okay, got it.
One question on the residency or visa status on will and trust dependency. So in a question, heard trust is applicable only for citizens in US. Is that a myth or a fact? And how does residency or visa status affect the will or trust terms?
Okay.
For H1B visa versus GC versus US citizen.
Okay. So the immigration status does not affect the will and trust basically. So it doesn't make any difference between whether the person is H1B or the person the green card or citizen.
Okay.
So it pretty much treats the same way.
So in case if H1B ல இருக்கும்போது obviously majority H1 இருக்காங்க, அவங்க ஒரு ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி ஓன் பண்ணிருக்காங்க, அன்ஃபோர்சீன் நேச்சர்ல அவங்க இந்தியா போக வேண்டியது இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா அவங்களுடைய ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் எல்லாருமே வந்து அவங்க அசைன் பண்ண பவர் ஆஃப் அட்டார்னி கேன் ஹேண்டில் அண்ட் டீல் திங்ஸ் லீகலி.
Exactly.
So they can trust their friends or whoever is in the US, they can take over the whole legal things, right?
Yes, Dana. Yeah.
Okay. இது வந்து ஒரு பெரிய மேஜர் இஷ்யூ ஆக்சுவலா. இப்போ இந்த கோவிட் லாஸ்ட் 2 இயர்ஸ்ல எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு நிறைய ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் இந்தியாவுக்கு போய் லாக் ஆயிட்டு அவங்களுடைய ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் எதுவும் பண்ண முடியாம, அவங்களுடைய அசட்ஸ் எதுவும் பண்ண முடியாம, they didn't have a will or a trust actually. Though they have the property here and a bank, எதுவுமே இருந்துமே இந்தியால போய் பண்ண முடியல, because they don't have any legal power of attorney at that time when they went to India in COVID situation. I think if they had this will or trust, அவங்களுடைய சிச்சுவேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் பயங்கர ஈஸா இருக்கும் அப்படின்ட்டு இப்ப எனக்கு ஃபீல் ஆகுது.
Correct.
I think we are.
think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the will and trust is the most important thing. As I mentioned before, people just don't realize until it's too late. Recently, especially over the past couple of years, there are so many incidents I have heard, especially in the Dallas area.
Property loan la irundhalume we can write the will. Yeah, I mean like, but நம்ம வீடு லோன் தான் வாங்க போறோம். If the property is still in the loan, we will have a will. How it proceeds from there? Like,
the only thing, yeah, the trust depends on the mortgage company. You may or may not be able to move the asset to a trust because at the time the bank wants the property, right?
Yeah, but okay. So yeah, I think it's getting even more legal.
Right. Then there is some legal thing comes in, right? You have to check with the mortgage company or bank. Will they allow to move the property to trust?
Okay.
I like Radha's question. I heard that trust is only needed for people with a lot of money, probably in millions. அப்படி இல்லைன்னா simple will போதுமா? Is this true?
I don't think that's true. So will மட்டும் இருந்தாலும் definitely it won't be able to avoid the court process. So any case for guardian of the children or for other property or assets, so they have to go to the court process.
Okay.
Maybe we can open it up for the audience.
Sure.
Our audience can unmute and ask if there's any questions that were not answered, that were not asked prior, or if you have anything new.
என்கிட்ட ஒரு கொஸ்டின் சந்துரு. இது வந்து இப்போ வில்லோ ட்ரஸ்டோ இல்லைன்னா நம்ம நீங்க சொன்னீங்க அதை பத்தி, பட் இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ் வந்து என்ன கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு போயிடுமா? இப்போ அந்த ஹோல் ஃபேமிலிக்கே ஏதாவது பேட் ஆகுதுன்னு வைங்களேன். இப்போ நம்ம பேங்க் அக்கௌண்ட் இருக்கு, இல்ல வீடு இருக்கு, அந்த மாதிரி இது என்ன கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு போகுமா? இல்ல நமக்கு ரிலேட்டிவ்ஸ் இருக்காங்க, இந்தியாவில் இருக்காங்க, அவங்க வந்து கோர்ட்ல வந்து இந்த ப்ராசஸ் போட்டு ஃபைட் பண்ணி அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த கண்ட்ரோல் எடுக்க முடியுமா? அது
so it looks like it's more of a lawyer question.
Lawyer, okay.
Correct.
Like on a high level.
Yeah, at a high level, anyway, the state decides. So yeah, no one has any control over it. State have their specific law. So based on the law, the property goes. Basically.
So அப்படின்னா ஒரு சிம்பிள் will நாச்சும் சைன் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கிறது பெட்டர்.
Exactly. Simple will save like a lot of the headache and other things.
Okay. Thank you.
Can we have like multiple beneficiaries? Like இப்போ ராதாவோட இன்சிடென்ட்ல சொன்ன மாதிரி, like families first, in case something unfortunate happens to the family, God forbid. அப்படி மொத second level of beneficiaries, if the first one doesn't apply, second one அந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணலாமா?
அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணலாம். அதான் number of beneficiary, number of people who make a decision, right? So your question more of how many people you can assign as like a guardian.
My question is more like first one apply ஆலனா மட்டும் செகண்டுக்கு போணும் அந்த மாதிரி conditional-ஆ. I don't
there is a conditional option is there.
Okay.
So in the system there is an option. So based on that, whatever the option you want to choose, you can choose. They can serve, for example, they can serve like one after the other, or they can serve parallelly. So when making the decision.
Okay. will and trust எழுதுறோம் அப்படின்னா அது யார்கிட்ட இருக்கும்? I mean like bank lockerல இருக்குமா, இல்ல attorney இருக்குமா, இல்ல ஆன்லைன்ல இருக்குமா, இல்ல government custody ஏதாவது இருக்குமா, இல்ல how the document is protected actually?
Okay, the document is protected. Yeah, we don't have to, it's not really going to be there with the attorney or with the government. So once நீங்க will and trust process complete பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா, the document வந்து need to upload basically to the same system and give a copy to the executor. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, no one will know whether you have it or not, right? So make like let's say you are choosing like 3 people as a guardian of the children, or 3 like a power of attorney, giving 3 people. That is, I would suggest to give copies to everyone.
Everyone. Okay.
Audience, any questions?
So if parents ஏதாவது ஆயிருச்சு அப்படின்னா சில்ட்ரன்ஸ்க்கு வந்து அந்த வில் பத்தி எதுவும் தெரியல, ஐ மீன் லைக் ஆப்வியஸ்லி சொல்லாம இருந்துட்டாங்க, இல்லாட்டி சில்ட்ரன்ஸ்க்கு தெரியல அப்படின்ற பட்சத்துல என்ன நடக்கும்? இஃப் சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் ஆர் நாட் அவேர் ஆஃப் த வில் ஆஃப் பேரண்ட்ஸ் திங்ஸ்.
Okay, so aduk da, I mean again the guardian of the children, or whoever the giving
Okay,
the,
so
the people we are putting in the will, right? So they are aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have to aware of it.
இப்போ ட்ரஸ்ட்னா மகேஷ் நீங்க
go ahead. கேளுங்க ராதா, go ahead.
ஓகே. இதுல இப்ப ட்ரஸ்ட்னா என்னங்க, ஒரு நேம் வச்சு கிரியேட் பண்றதா? இப்ப வில்லுன்னா தெரியும், சிம்பிள் டாக்குமெண்ட். இப்போ எனக்கு பின்னாடி என் குழந்தைங்களுக்கு போகணுன்ற மாதிரி எல்லாம் சொல்லி எழுதிடுவோம். ட்ரஸ்ட்னா எப்படிங்க, இது எங்கனாச்சும் போய் ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணுமா ஒரு நேம் போட்டு? அதுக்கு யார் மேனேஜ் பண்றா அந்த ட்ரஸ்ட் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி எல்லாம் சொல்லி, do we have to do it in like a county or any registration office?
Trust is like it's like exactly similar to the will. நீங்க வந்து அந்த சிஸ்டத்துல கிரியேட் பண்ணும்போது நீங்க ட்ரஸ்ட் நேம் கொடுப்பீங்க. ஓகேங்களா? ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்ப ராதா ஃபேமிலி ட்ரஸ்ட் ஆர் எனி நேம். ஸோ ஒன்ஸ் நீங்க அந்த மாதிரி கொடுத்து டாக்குமெண்ட் ஜெனரேட் பண்ணோன்னு அது வந்து யூ வில் கெட் லைக் ஃபியூ டாக்குமெண்ட்ஸ் அந்த ட்ரஸ்ட், சர்டிஃபிகேட் ஆஃப் ட்ரஸ்ட், ட்ரஸ்ட் அக்ரிமெண்ட். So in along with that, on the trust, how to set up a trust, how to fund the trust, along the document generate pannom, in the instruction documents. So other படிச்சீங்கன்னா you will have more information basically.
Okay.
For example, இப்போ வந்து நீங்க வந்து உங்களோட ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வந்து ட்ரஸ்ட்டுக்கு மூவ் பண்ணணும். சிம்பிள் திங் இல்லையா? அது வந்து இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் இட்ஸ் தட்ஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்லி அவுட் சைட் ஆஃப் த ப்ராசஸ். நீங்க வந்து கவுண்டி ஆஃபீஸ் போயிட்டு அங்க வந்து தே மே ஹேவ் சம் ஃபார்மை ஃபில் அப் பண்ணி டாக்குமெண்ட், ஐ மீன் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி மூவ் பண்ணணும்.
Oh, so that's an additional processங்களா? இப்போ என்ன
additional process,
வீடுன்னா இப்போ ஹஸ்பண்ட் அண்ட் ஒய்ஃப் மேல லோன் போட்டு வாங்கியிருப்போம். இப்போ ஒரு ட்ரஸ்ட் கிரியேட் பண்றோம்னா நம்ம அந்த வீடு அந்த ட்ரஸ்ட்டுக்குள்ள மூவ் பண்ணணும், அந்த process.
So that's a one example. The trust can be used in many areas, right? For another example, if a life insurance la most people what they do, they put like a spouse primary beneficiary and the children's will be the the secondary beneficiary. அந்த மாதிரி தான் எல்லாம் போடுவாங்க. But some people they put trust as a beneficiary. It's adding additional layer of security. So when the person passes away, the life insurance proceeds goes to the trust, right?
Okay.
So on the title on the trust la வந்து I'm sure the person would have assigned like few trustees. So the trustees can have access to these accounts basically.
Okay.
So they can help the family with that money. So that's another scenario. So in the Mari, trust is like, I know that's kind of a very complex topic. Trust is kind of created for anything for any reason. So if a trust companies, when you are driving by, you may see some trust companies, right? So the trust company, they can be a trustee basically. So individual, if you are choosing a company, again, you have to pay for the trust companies. That's going to cost more.
Yeah, okay.
So individual, trust companies, they have been here for generation to generation, some other companies.
இப்போ நீங்க என்ன சொல்றீங்கன்னா, நம்ம ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் யாரும் போடல, இப்போ ஒரு ரிலேட்டிவ்ஸ் நமக்கு இங்க இல்ல அப்படின்னா, ஒரு ஜெனரலா ஒரு கம்பெனி அவங்க எப்படி நமக்கு பெனிஃபிட்டா பண்ணுவாங்களா? நமக்கு
I mean that's what they are here for.
Okay. So they'll take some type of percentage or some type of
correct. There may be some fees for them.
Fees for that to execute it.
But they manage, they will be the trust company. Right.
Okay.
So they're supposed to take care of, if something happened to the parents, now they're supposed to take care of the children with all their financial need, whatever they available in the trust.
Okay. Thank you.
Mahesh,
Yeah, Chandru, you covered this in the past too, but still I'll ask this question again. Child custody வந்து இப்போ இங்க immediate relatives யாரும் இல்லைன்னா, நம்ம child custody வந்து parents இந்தியாவில் இருக்காங்க, அவங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துருக்கோம்னா, and if we have only a will, அவங்க இங்க வரதுக்கு maybe it could take a week or 10 days to come over here. அந்த interim periodல kids government foster care போயிடுவாங்களா, இல்ல can they stay with friends and families around? And
so usually usually they go to foster care
immediately,
yes. If the county or wherever the city is notified, if they came to know, they will take actually. There are some child services and
நம்ம வில்லே வந்து இமிடியேட்டா வந்து இங்க பக்கத்து ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு போவாங்க till the grandparents arrive here அப்படினு இருந்ததுன்னா they can go to the friends.
Yeah, I think so, but specifically நீங்க மென்ஷன் பண்ணீங்கன்னா I think that should be fine.
Okay, and if the immediate relatives come back here and in the event of we having only a will, do they have to go through court proceedings to get the control of the kid?
Correct. So they have to go to the court process and to get a custody of the children and get hold of the assets, things like that.
Is straightforward நம்ம will எழுதி இருந்தோம்னா how long is this process going to take to go to the court and get things resolved amicably?
That's depends on the the county basically. Okay. And it could take months to years actually.
Oh, so if we have a trust, okay, but if we have a trust, we don't have to go through all those hassles.
Correct.
Straight
exactly.
away they can come and take over.
Right.
Okay, yeah, thanks for clarifying.
இப்போ 55 பிளஸ் ஆனவங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது பெனிஃபிட்ஸ் இருக்கா இந்த will and trust எடுக்கிறதுல?
So separate benefits that I am not aware of.
Okay.
It's applicable to for any ages basically.
Okay.
இப்போ குழந்தைங்க நீங்க சொன்னீங்க இப்போ 18 இயர்ஸ்க்கு கீழே இருந்தா மட்டும் நம்ம குழந்தைங்களுக்கு கார்டியன் ப்ராப்ளம் ஆயிடும் இல்லைங்களா? அவங்க if they are over 18 then they can decide who, I mean they can stay with their friends and the mari.
Correct. I mean, yeah, yes. So especially for the younger kids, right?
Younger kid. Okay.
So if you are the adult, they are there on one in this country.
On there. Okay. இப்போ ரெண்டு கிட் இருந்தா ஒரு கிட் வந்து யங்கா இருந்ததுன்னா still they'll have to go through all those.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's say one of the child is like 25 years old. One is like 6 years old. I know that's a big gap, but again, you can put that elder kid as a guardian.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
So only adult has to be that a guardian, or you can give that a power to.
ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம பேரண்ட்ஸ் இல்லை யாராவது ரிலேட்டிவ்ஸ் இந்தியால இருந்து வந்தாங்க அப்படின்னா கோர்ட்டுக்கு போறதுக்கு ஆப்வியஸ்லி அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு அட்டார்னி தேவைப்படும் இல்லையா இந்த ப்ரொசீடிங்ஸ் எல்லாத்தையும் ஹேண்டில் பண்றதுக்கு, ஆர் தே கேன் ஹேண்டில் இட் டைரக்ட்லி பை பர்சன்?
Usually வந்து attorney வேணும். Usually they have to have an attorney.
Okay.
Somebody has to help with the process. Yeah. Otherwise என்ன அங்கேருந்து வந்து இங்க வந்து டைரக்டா அவங்க போறதுன்னா definitely it's going to be very difficult for them.
Okay.
So in the process எவ்வளவு sorry முத்துக்குமார் நீங்க போங்க.
Yeah. So sorry. So just following up on the question that I think Priya had earlier, from a will standpoint, so from a beneficiary, just in like worst case scenario, right, the whole family passes away, even the kids who would be the normal beneficiary, so can we like specify additional like beneficiaries, like somebody in India who would get the assets in case something like that happens?
Yes, Muthu. You will be able to specify. So you just have to add those names. So in the system, and you can specify that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Radha, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I'll ask. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any age limit guardian or they can be any age or about 21?
Yeah, they have to be adult. So 18 is considered as adult.
Okay.
This country, right?
So
they have to be
grandparents avanga ellame obviously older.
Yes.
Still we can mention them, right? Adu guardian age limit edum kediyadu actually.
Illa age limit edum kediyadu ungalku. Okay. Only the minimum requirement is 18.
Okay.
Okay, recall. ஸோ இப்போ நீங்க ட்ரஸ்ட் பண்றோம்னா எக்ஸிக்யூட்டர் நம்ம நாமினேட் பண்ணோம் இல்லையா 2-3 பேர். இப்போ அவங்களோட சோசியல் செக்யூரிட்டிலாம் நமக்கு சொல்லணுமா? அவங்ககிட்ட இருந்து கலெக்ட் பண்ணணுமா? இப்போ நம்ம 2 ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் போடுறோம்னா அவங்க சோசியல் செக்யூரிட்டிலாம் கொடுக்கணுமா, இல்ல நேம் மட்டும் இருந்தா போதுங்களா?
இல்ல
நேம் அண்ட் அட்ரஸ்.
Yeah, name, date of birth and address.
What if they change address? So in one of the example, like ஒரு அவங்க இந்தியா போயிட்டாங்க, அவங்கள நம்ம வில்லையோ ட்ரஸ்ட்லயோ மென்ஷன் பண்ணிருக்கோம்னு வைங்க, திடீர்னு விசா ப்ராப்ளத்துல இந்தியா போயிட்டாங்க, அப்போ then do we have to redo the will and trust since they moved?
How to, as far I know, how to update the document basically.
Okay, அவங்க அட்ரஸ் மெயினா நேம் அதா இருக்கும், பட் அட்ரஸ் மாத்தணும்.
Address may have to update.
Address patru illana, I think we have to get someone in the US itself and have it updated. I think India la இருக்கவங்கள இவ்வளவு கான்வர்சேஷன் கேட்ட வரைக்கும் இந்தியால இருக்கிறவங்கள போடலாம், பட் அவங்கள ப்ராசஸ் உள்ள கொண்டு வரது கொஞ்சம் காம்ப்ளிகேட் மாதிரி தான் இருக்கு. யூஎஸ்ல இருக்கிறவங்க தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அண்ட் யூஸ்ஃபுல் பெனிஃபிஷியரியா இருக்க முடியும்னு தோணுது.
Okay.
Okay, we are 2:05.
Okay.
So think எல்லா கொஸ்டின்ஸும் ஆன்சர் பண்ணியாச்சுன்னு ஃபீல் பண்றோம். பட் இஃப் ஏதாவது உங்களுக்கு கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கு இல்ல கொஸ்டின் கேட்கணும் அப்படின்னா கண்டிப்பா ரீச் அவுட் பண்ணுங்க. We can reach out to Chandru. If you want to take the closing.
I want to open it up one more time. யாருக்காவது questions and I don't want to
Sure, yeah.
Close it up on the audience. So maybe we'll wait for like anyone.
Just one quick question: is there like is it a limited time offer for the $450, or we can?
It's not a limited time offer. I mean,
Okay.
earlier, if you had to ask me, like a couple of years before the COVID, actually, right? So everyone has to purchase directly. Now they changed it, actually. Only everyone has to go through the agents. So as an agent, what we do is we buy in bulk, basically. Okay, like a 50, 100 packages, something like that. And the cost is decided by the agent here.
Okay.
So there is no like time limit or anything. So the cost is going to be pretty much the same. So if you have to go to the site and directly purchase it, I think it's going to be like a 1,200 or 1,900, something like that. It's going to be pricing.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good questions so far. Any other questions from anyone else? Okay. All right then. Thanks, Chandru, on your time and for clarifying all our questions that we had. Thanks to Radha Rangarajan. He is our new TAC president, and this is our first event under his leadership. Thanks to you, Radha, and to all the committee members who coordinated, who sent out multiple emails and helped make this event possible. Above all, inga join பண்ணவங்க எல்லாருக்கும் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப thanks, because without you it would have been like just like 4 or 5 people, right? So thank you all for joining and getting engaged and interested in learning about this topic. And of course, my co-host, thanks to you, Dana, too.
Thanks, Priya. And of course, thank you, Radha, for organizing the first successful event. And thank you, Chandru, for your time. Obviously, will and trust அப்படின்னா என்னன்னு ஒரு பெரிய கிளாரிஃபிகேஷன் கண்டிப்பா கிடைச்சிச்சு. நிறைய questions answer பண்ணிட்டீங்க. Think you gave enough explanation. Jaydev கை தூக்கி இருக்காரு. கை தட்டி இருக்காரு.
It was not a raised hand.
Okay.
Applause.
Sorry. Thank you.
There's one more question. How to contact Chandru from Prabhu? Nanga, actually, Radha, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we'll இந்த இது வந்து ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணிருக்கோம். இந்த செஷன் வந்து யூடியூப் நம்ம டேக்கோட யூடியூப் சேனல்ல நம்ம போஸ்ட் பண்ணிடுவோம். அதுல வந்து நம்ம சந்துருவோட கான்டாக்ட் டீடைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் நம்ம வில் ப்ரொவைட். நீங்க வந்து அவரை டைரக்டா கான்டாக்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். And thanks, Chandru, for giving some discounts to TAC members.
Yeah, sure.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, thanks to all the committee members and all the participants. So I am here. So anytime contact me. As Radha mentioned, my contact number will be posted there in YouTube channel. You can feel free to contact me if you need help completing documents.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you,
All right.
Dana.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you all then.
Yeah, we'll stop the recording.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.